Hey everyone, welcome back to the realm. I'm Gina.
I'm Rich.
I'm Rob.
Rob. It's the three of us for our last weird weekly news of the season. We get a little bit of a break. Not really, though. We only get a break from recording because now we have a lot of evidence review to do. But for those of you listening, we are closing out season 5. This is our last weird weekly news until November because October will not include weird weekly news or weird whenever news. We will have we'll talk a little bit more about what October brings if you've not experienced our October before. So right now, we're going to just blindly react to some news stories that we have brought to the table. If you've never seen these kind of episodes before, we used to do rock, paper, scissors. Now we let the wheel of destiny, as it were, or the wheel of names decide who is going to go first. So I am going to share my screen right now so that we can see who is going to go first.
So exciting.
It's so exciting. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give it the good old spin.
Beep,
Oh
beep,
boy.
beep, beep, beep. There's no sound, no ticking sound. Tick, 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 tick,
There
tick.
is, but Rob, you're
Oh,
first. I don't know if you can hear
congratulations.
that, but it is clapping. There's confetti going.
No, I can't.
I know. I think that it has to do with like the power that's being drawn out of my computer for with this microphone. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Rich and I tried really hard. We got the sound to work before, and now it does not. So I don't know
Yeah,
what to.
it was working that one day, that's for
I
sure.
might have to just watch some more YouTube episodes. So, Rob, what do you got?
So, this has always been kind of an interesting topic to me. And since it has to do with Las Vegas and everybody on this show loves Las
Woo!
Vegas, another strange monolith in a remote mountain range near Las Vegas has been found. Um, what I don't like about these articles, because there's been several found across the US and in other countries, is that they seem to disappear as quickly as they show up. So even though you might say it, they will tell you it's metal, it's a prism, or whatnot. They'll tell you how tall it was. Even one of them knew how much it weighed without taking it out of the ground, as they
Oh,
disappear as
nice.
fast as they appear. And usually the locations are hard to get to, and these
Right.
are quite heavy. So they don't really get into the where it came from, but they disappear quite often. And this one was found earlier this week, and it has already been removed. So it remains unknown how the item got to its location and who might be responsible. Las Vegas police said Friday in a series of posts on X announcing the removal of the glimmering 6'4" prism.
Oh shit, that was big.
Right, right, but some of them are 10 feet tall.
Hmm.
Okay,
They,
so why? Okay, when they show up and when people find them, why are they not setting up trail cams or some shit that we know that they could set up out there that will work and seeing who's dropping them off, picking them up, whatever the case may be?
Yeah,
so
good question.
right, right. Okay, now do you remember the Georgia Guidestones?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So right, they had that camera there, and those guys blew it up, and they believe it was a religious organization. They actually had one of them that was removed in California, was removed by some religious extremists, or so it was believed, or that at least they were trying to claim, because they videotaped it and put it on Facebook, and it appeared to be that, and they shouted racial slurs, right wing, uh,
Rhetoric.
yeah, that likes that kind of stuff, America and religious propaganda, as they tore it down, which really it didn't actually say why they did it. So why do they do that? Sometimes they just disappear quick as they appear, and they usually appear in some really hard to get areas. It was discovered last weekend, a quick removal. This one, I'm sorry, they did know who removed it, and they removed it because of safety and concerns for the environment.
Oh, okay.
Now it's attracting people into dangerous remote areas, and they're trampling plants and leaving. It says human waste, which I'm assuming means garbage, and not that they're pooping out there. But maybe
Well,
I
who
don't
knows?
know. You don't.
no.
They could be.
If they're crapping in line at Disney World, they're taking craps out in the desert.
I
Well,
mean, you've heard of runners' trots. I mean, there could be walkers' trots. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've never been to Disneyland, but I'm sure it probably makes you poop a lot there. So, um, it doesn't really say like what happened to the monolith, and that's kind of the disturbing, or not disturbing, the disappointing
Yeah.
part of these stories. So,
Because, like, did they test it? Like, what kind of metal are they? I mean, I would love to know, like, are they going to take it now somewhere, test it, try to find out what kind of metal it is or
right,
whatever?
they never say that like it's some weird alloy and not of this earth, or some element only found on meteorites. It doesn't ever say that. So, but the fact that like it was put into the redstone as
Yeah,
opposed to like just dug into the dirt, um, and it almost gives me this feeling like maybe the people who remove it are really just Men in Black.
maybe. But I mean,
Because
so it was actually embedded in the stone, not just like dig a little hole in
it
the
was put
dirt.
in a
We're
hole.
talking,
It was put in a hole in the redstone, and it left a hole in the rock.
huh? I
Right?
mean, that reminds me, like, I saw this picture of these two stone like formations, rock formations that had like a laser beam precision spacing through the two of them. So it's like this large, and then it comes down to this small piece that's almost like balancing on. And between these two rocks, it's like they call it like laser precision cut, like gap that you can see like through these rocks. So I don't know how this stuff happens, but it just really is disturbing that they don't have follow up to this. It's like we hear about it and then all of a sudden it disappears, kind of like the
Like
UFO stuff. It's like,
right. Now the ones in Utah, Romania, and California are the more mysterious ones because they show up and disappear without a trace. One was tore down by some religious radicals, political radicals, or whatever. And apparently, this one was made from. It was moved to a secret location.
Mm.
So it was made of reflective sheet of metal that was molded into a prism and secured with rebar and concrete. And
that's
there you go. It was there, it was gone. And the other ones are more mysterious. And, we do know that, like the Georgia Guidestones and one of the other ones, were destroyed by radicals. So I don't know. It appeared,
maybe they're
disappeared,
afraid of
and
it.
they could be, but like one of them was 200 pounds, and it was up in the top of a remote trail in Utah. So somebody carried it up there, and put it in the ground, right?
Crazy.
So, and then it disappeared. So who's putting it there and removing it?
Somebody saw something. The problem is nobody pays attention anymore.
No, because everybody's looking down at their phone.
Yeah, everybody's
Nobody
well.
saw. That's why you don't see the UFOs.
That's beside the point, but you're absolutely right. People are on their phone way too much. The other
Yeah.
day, I'm just a quick sidebar. On the other day, every day I see people that are doing stupid shit driving. The other day on my way home, I'm coming around Lighthouse Drive here. There's a guy riding his bicycle in front of me on his phone, not on
Oh
his phone
my
talking, on his phone
God.
playing, looking down as he's weaving to the middle. I'm like, really? You're
And
riding a
he's
bicycle.
along the lake.
Yeah,
Like, it's a big drop off. There's
right there
not
where it
much that
goes.
protects you
Yeah,
to go over that cliff.
that 2-lane road. So you got to basically slow down to either let them go or you have to go in the other lane. I couldn't do anything because the guy's all over the place and he's on his. I'm thinking to myself, you're riding your bicycle you're out riding a bike. Why do you need to be on your phone while you're riding that bike?
Because you live in that rich, entitled neighborhood. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, oh.
I'm gonna start keeping track of every day all the stupid shit I see. I'm gonna have a list one day, and I'm just gonna run down the list of all the stupid drivers. Let's talk about four-way stop signs. Nobody knows how to operate a four-way stop sign anymore either. Four people come up to that stop sign, and clearly you know who's there, and not one person will move. They look at each other. It's like you people don't know what to do here.
No, my other thing
No.
is like merging when people get pissed off whenever somebody goes all the way up to the end to merge in. That's called the zippering. Like you're supposed to fucking do that. Like you're literally supposed to do that because otherwise when people get over too soon, that's how all the traffic forms. So if you got people in both lanes to the end and every person lets somebody in, never mind.
Right, because my story was so boring that we got really excited about
No,
people on their phone.
not at all.
We just
The other day, I saw this couple walking down the street, and they had two dogs each, and they were walking the dogs. They were on leashes, but they weren't holding the leashes. They had a belt that they hooked the leashes onto.
Oh my
So
God.
each one of them had two dog leashes on their belt, and they're walking down the street and they're totally on their phones. They're not talking to each other.
You know what I would have done?
They're not paying attention. Nothing.
I would be talking to
you
my
have to have
dog.
that. You have to have that belt so you can be on your phone.
Throw
I
a couple
always talk
cheeseburgers
to
in front of those dogs and watch them take off running and pull them. That would have been the best thing ever.
I always talk to
Outside.
my pups whenever we're on a walk. I have a conversation with them. That's when I people watch.
Yeah, people are just-
Anyway. Well, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad that was one of the stories this week because it wasn't one that I
did
had,
see
but it was
that.
one that I saw and I was like, oh, I hope somebody brings it.
Well, we heard about it a while ago, and it seemed like all of a sudden you didn't hear nothing.
Again, yeah,
about
for a
it, and then
while.
until right now, then the one was popped up that Rob talked about.
Okay, let's see who gives the next one. Rich, you're faring very well these last few
I
weeks.
put my money on Rich.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what it says. Oh,
Look at this.
dang.
Oh,
It's
you know me. It's some
me.
Swedish fish.
It is me.
Oh no!
All right.
I thought it was on Rich.
Hold on a minute.
Let me
Hold
stop
on a minute.
sharing
Hold on a minute.
Wait, run this one. I want to see who gets it.
Are you taking a picture where you're the only one left on the wheel?
Okay.
Okay, you got it.
Got it.
All right. I have a couple really good stories and I don't know what to do. If I'm fast, I might be able to do both of them really quickly.
Easy.
Okay. I might double dip because this other one is really too good. Okay. So the two submissions that I got were from my friend Shannon. You know how we've asked people to send us in like news stories. We've had a couple people send us stuff. So Shannon was so intrigued by watching our recording. She's now on the lookout for some good stuff that doesn't happen in Florida. I think she's trying to redeem her state, but this one happens in Nebraska. The headline reads on WVVA.com, which is a news station in Bluefield, West Virginia. The story's not out of West Virginia, though. It's just from a station there. The headline says, woman found still alive at funeral home dies hours later. And this is June 4th of 2024. All right. So it's not even like it was a while ago. All right. Lancaster County Sheriff's Office said a woman who had been pronounced dead and later came back to life in the Lincoln funeral home has died. It's not funny. I'm just saying the fact that.
Why are you laughing?
Because it was redundant. It was like a woman that was pronounced dead has died. Anyway, Constance Glantz, 74, was pronounced dead for a second time at 4 p.m. on Monday, according to the chief. The county attorney ordered an autopsy that would be performed the following day. The sheriff's office is supposed to be giving an update once final autopsy is reported. I did not look up what the follow-up was because people can look up the follow-up themselves. This happened just a couple weeks ago. As of a couple weeks ago, the investigation was still ongoing. So what happened was she was at the Mulberry Nursing Home in Waverly, Nebraska. And on 9:45 a.m. on Monday, she was pronounced dead by staff. Apparently, a doctor even signed the death certificate. She had been in hospice, and the nursing staff were expecting her to die. The funeral home staff took her body to the facility, and then at 11:43 a.m., so this is like 2 hours later, Lincoln Fire and Rescue responded to the funeral home after a caller said CPR was in progress for the woman. So while they were preparing her body for funeral arrangements, the funeral home staff member noticed that she was still breathing, called 911, and they started CPR. She did die hours later after that. And they are going to be doing an investigation on that. But can you believe, like, in this like day and age, that something like that is still happening? Like, I know they used to dig graves with like the bells on it just in case somebody was buried alive, but
they were making a zombie and they failed the first attempt, so they came back to make her into a zombie the second time.
Well, that could be it. And I think like where the failure comes in this sometimes is that when people are on hospice, it's like the nurses kind of make the phone call that the person has passed away. So they're kind of acting on the doctor's life. So it's similar to like when you're in EMS, you call the hospital. If there's like definite signs of death, you report those and then you get a time of death. So it's very similar. The nurses will see XYZ symptoms. They'll get a time of death, and the death certificate ends up getting signed. They usually typically will then call the medical examiner's office because it has to be reported. And the medical examiner also takes information over the phone, rarely goes out to the site when somebody's on hospice, and then, also like files a report that they died. So I just found this incredibly interesting that is happening in this day and age. So that was just like a short little story, but this next one was another one Shannon sent me, and this was the one that like, I don't even know if I'm going to get through without being able, how I have these stories that make me laugh. So here we go. From the New York Post.
Like dead people.
The headline reads.
They're funny.
Yeah.
I wasn't laughing at dead people. It was just the sentence was redundant. It was the sentence how it was written was funny.
It's okay. We're here to have fun. It's okay to laugh.
Okay, so this one says, I quit my boring 9 to 5 to become a professional sex toy tester. I mean, I didn't. Story? That's the headline. Is that your story?
Oh, I'm not. That's a story about me.
Oh.
Like, where do I sign up?
Okay, so apparently, so this was June 8th of 2024, New York Post. And this woman, her name is Sarah Riccio. She ditched her traditional 9 to 5 to become a professional sex toy tester, a little known odd job that remedied the 34-year-old's dissatisfaction with a normal office workspace. The opening line was, for this New Yorker, business is pleasure. Sex, she told the Southwest News Service, is the only thing I love more than sleep. All right, like many people, I'm sure. So she formerly worked as a nanny before discovering product testing in 2018, starting with mattress and bedding before finding her true passion. So while she was reviewing beds at Sleepopolis, was the name of the company, I guess, Riccio met her future business partner, Rose, who would later work with Riccio in 2021 to found Delicto. Maybe they're trying to say delicate and then like make it fancy, church it up a little bit. Anyway, it's a one-stop shop for all things adult pleasure, including product reviews, listings, and articles relating to sex. So she goes on to talk again about how much she loves doing this. She says she's tested more than 150 toys in her career and is particularly, I'm not going to read that. If you want to read that article, I'm going to post this. It's not too graphic. It's just, I don't really want to, but She says, when the business first launched, we had our ups and downs. And one point we thought we should just go back to work, like, the 9 to 5, but they were able to move past those obstacles, and now they are bigger than ever. I mean, some of the wording in this article is amazing. So it just says a typical day in her life involves writing articles about sex education, testing toys, filming reviews, and offering tips and tutorials for different techniques in the bedroom. So she also provides shame-free education about sex on social media.
No?
Now, I have to say, I kind of like that in the sense that we need to talk about sexual health more. As part of my job, I do disease investigation and surveillance. I deal a lot with STIs and sexual health education, and it's something we definitely need more of. So I like that. She tries to bring positive spin to it. But just in case you guys ever get bored and you're looking for some side money,
Mm-hmm.
product testing could be in your future. Just, doesn't have to be that one, but
No,
Somebody
I'm
should
just
double check her
like,
work.
right.
Does she have a number?
I can probably get you her email address.
Well, I mean, how everything has a stamp on it, says tested by number.
Oh, you're talking about like the
Right.
test.
Yeah, when
Okay,
it's
so
got
like,
numbers.
and you're like, okay, so I'm gonna retest this product. Got it. Okay, I get it. Thought you were like literally wanting her number. I was like, that's a little forward of you.
I'll find her if I need to.
So okay, that was that. I think we have a couple minutes. Do you have a short one?
Yeah,
You
a
want-
quick one. Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. The one I have said the headline reads Drift Bottle.
Oh.
Launched in 1961, washes up near Boston.
Oh,
Boston?
1961.
1961.
Where was it launched from?
It was launched from an island between the United States and Canada 63 years ago. This is
Wait a minute.
this is
Wait a
just
minute.
from
Did you say an island between the United States and Canada?
yes. That's what it says. Now, I think it's in the ocean, obviously. Okay. It's not
like if you're going and around,
it's
if
that
you're going
place
in
where
a
Loch Ness
semicircle
Monster
from
comes from.
Canada to the US by ship.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There we go.
Yes. It says that Fisheries and Oceans Canada Maritimes said in social media, of course, everybody does this on social media, that the bottle with a note inside was a drift bottle that they used back in the day for tracking surface currents, is what it was.
Huh.
So starting in 1922, they used to track the currents by releasing bottles and then relying on people like you and me or whoever, when they find them, to turn them in.
Oh, okay.
And then they can tell where it was launched from and then where it went. And then they know what the current is, the times and all that stuff. Kind of like how they're doing different things with that MH370 thing, where they said that they can do that with the flow patterns for the debris. Remember how they said they could track the debris and they know where it came from and this and that. But in that case, they have no freaking clue because they still can't find the plane. But that's beside the point. So this one here was launched in 1961 from Machias Seal Island. It's a disputed island in the Bay of Fundy, not Bundy, Fundy. And it was recently found, the bottle, on the northern tip of Cape Cod. The bottle had a note inside of it, and I have a picture of this that we can post when we do it, promising $1 reward for whoever finds it and turns it into the authorities so they have it for their research. So you get a whole $1.
There's probably a
Oh.
lot 1961. That was probably minimum wage.
So hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, that probably was minimum wage. Okay. So I looked this up.
Mhm.
So here's the Machias Seal Island. I'm assuming we're talking about.
Yep.
Now I'm this gonna it's a very tiny island because
It's in a pond in between Canada and
look
the
at this.
Canadian
So
US.
so right there's Nova Scotia. So it's between Nova Scotia and
Gotcha. That's
the
that's
the
in
northeastern tip of
Gotcha. Yep.
or
Yep.
like the mid east Well, I guess what that would be southeastern, because I'm thinking of what, yeah, so the southeastern tip of Maine. So it's in between those two areas. But it took from 1961 to get from this place here down to Boston. But also we don't know how long it was washed up on the shore.
Yeah, who
Where
knows how long?
you know
Right.
where they actually found it?
Just that said the northern tip of Cape Cod. So
Huh.
now it did
Yeah,
say
who knows
that
how long it was there.
that bottle was one of 500 that were released in that same grouping back in 1961 from the island. There was 500 of them that they launched, and this was one of them. It doesn't
They were all
say if
together.
this was the last one they were waiting for or anything like that, which I wish they would have said something like that in there that, hey, we found so many of them already, or normally we don't get any back, or, to give you a little bit more on how that old school technology was working for them. But
That's pretty cool though. I've often wanted to do like the letter in the bottle. I think one of my kids did either a letter in a bottle or I think it was my daughter Abby, or maybe they did like a letter on a balloon thing. I don't know. Somebody got her letter and they corresponded. I could be lying as to what child it is. I have four, and it's just it was a long time ago. So I'll get some clarification, update that whenever we post this episode. But yeah, I've always wanted to do that. Maybe we should do that as a team. Write a letter, put a picture, take a picture. We can all sign it, roll it up with our business card, throw it in a bottle, set it off, and see where it ends up
See who gives us a sponsorship from
one
it.
day.
Do you think they released all 500 bottles at one time? So if
I
you were
would
listening
think
in the distance, you could hear all them bottles clanking together, and you're like, what the hell's right? And maybe that's why they didn't find any, because they're all clanking together and then they're
they're all broke.
breaking, and that was the only one that survived.
Yep.
Yeah, the rest of them sunk.
And
So
people got their feet on
I was so busy looking up that island, I might have missed so they were releasing the bottles so that they could
Just
test.
track the currents,
Okay.
currents and flow and all that stuff.
current currents.
Now
Yeah.
I know shit about this. So what I'm gonna say now is probably a lie, so you can listen or not. I don't care. But this is what I believe they do now. I think they release like some type of
Weather balloon?
like a ball or something. They like ping pong balls or something like that. They release all that stuff. And I think they have like trackers in them, and they've got different, it's with technology now. I think that's how they
Oh,
do
like
something
those
like
little
that.
balls from the movie Twister that they
Yeah,
have.
kind of like that. Yeah, I think that's what they do, kind of. And maybe they did at one point, and maybe now they're already on to something different. But
That's true. Oh, speaking of Twister, I have to say that I love how this segues everything. They're like making another Twister.
mhm.
I don't know if are they reimagining it or if it's like
I don't
it's
know.
like years later, but I do know that it's happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think it's
so
just a redo, I think.
recently me and Amy were sitting, we went to go see some bands play at a bar, and I was watching it on TV and I didn't see the whole thing, and that's the first time I ever seen it.
Oh my gosh, really? It's such a great movie. I've seen it probably a bajillion times. Did you like it? Or well, you were in a bar.
Or I was like, this is ridiculous.
No, you should watch because the science side of it is kind of cool. And then it made me want to be a storm chaser. But then you watch
Probably would
these,
have been cooler if there were sharks in that tornado.
that's Sharknado. It's a whole different movie.
Yeah, you wanna hear something real
Oh,
crazy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday we had the privilege of being at a birthday party, and one of my siblings, I'm not going to name names, not the one that we know,
Uh-huh.
or well, I know them all, but not the one you guys know. Um, says, you know, that ship on the bottom of the ocean isn't the Titanic. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my God, I read a headline
He
about
goes,
this. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's the Olympic, right? It was an Olympic, Titanic and Britannic. He said, it's the Olympic. I said, no, it's that we're like, what are you're nuts. It's a conspiracy going around that back in the day, they put this plan together, something about insurance money that because the Olympic got hit or something and they couldn't claim the insurance money for it or something like that. So they ended up sinking it, repainting the other one. He's going this whole elaborate thing. And me and the other people are looking at each other like, I've never heard that. He goes, well, yeah, you can clearly see. Here's his reasoning. Here's one of his reasonings. Keep in mind, this ship has been under the Atlantic Ocean for over 100 years. Well, yeah, you can clearly see on the front of the ship, some of the letters look like they might be an M and a P in there instead. I said,
Right.
what? I said, that ship's been on for 100 years. You can be able to read anything. You're not going to be able to tell what it says. Oh, no. No. Then he continued. This is where all credibility was lost. He was just at a museum with a Titanic exhibit. He goes, I know more than those people at the museum know. Okay, you're done. If you're going to tell me that you know more about the people at the museum, and that's your reasoning, you're done. I'm not listening anymore.
I did see a headline about that, though.
I never heard that.
Well,
I mean, just recently.
Because I feel that is something they've been talking about a long time. And if you watch documentaries, they talk about not that they sunk it, but something happened, so they switched the names because the other one couldn't be repaired, and they didn't want to send out a broken boat. So I don't know how much of that is true. I didn't think it was really a conspiracy.
Apparently I need to look into this.
Right. But so speaking of which, on our next episode, we're going to have a Titanic expert on there. Amy. Amy is obsessed with the Titanic.
Oh, do you know what Kez is as well? Kez honestly believes, well, okay, I can't speak for Kez. Kez has an inkling, and it's kind of funny because like the episode that everybody will listen to before this, because we will be ending our season with this weird weekly news, is on obviously life after death, like what we think about that. So there's lots of things that'll be brought up in that conversation. And Kez feels strangely attached to the Titanic as if they were on it when it happened, which that wouldn't be the first person. There are other people who feel the same connection and kind of had the same thing. So I'm wondering if Amy might have, so I can't wait to talk to Amy and ask her these questions.
Well, we went to a exhibit at a museum, and you got a card. It was a ticket of people that were actually on there, and then after you go through the tour and everything, you get to look at this list and see if you lived or died. Both me and Amy died, so who knows?
You never know.
Well, we're gonna have to do an episode on Titanic now.
I know. Now we're gonna have to. That's like, because I would love to talk about the whole Olympic thing, and then I would also like
never
to talk
heard that
about,
story before.
There's also a lot of different information out there about how and why it sunk and all of those.
I thought it was cut and dry. Hit iceberg, sank.
Godzilla. Yeah. It was Godzilla.
It was Nessie on its way through that tunnel to Lake Tahoe to turn into Tessie.
Maybe they hit one of those bottles bouncing around in the lake. Oh no, that was too
500 of them could do some damage.
Yeah, that was before that though. They didn't start doing that till 22.
Oh, so, yeah.
But
well, okay, guys, I'm sad. This is our last weird weekly.
You could throw some out there randomly.
And randomly do it.
Yeah,
all I know
randomly do it.
We got a lot of evidence to do, but if we feel the inkling, we're a little bored, maybe we'll throw a couple out. Otherwise, Weird Weekly News, we'll see you in November. Just to plug, November 2nd in the Kenosha Racine area, there is a Paracon. It is going to be at 1300 Sheridan Road in Kenosha, right on the border of Kenosha and Racine. It'll be the first ever Paracon Paranormal Conference brought to this area. They're typically either in Milwaukee or down in Chicago. We're about halfway between both points. So we are assisting and helping putting that together. We are one of the teams that are supporting the efforts in doing that. We will be having a live podcast during the entire time that we are there. We'll be pulling people in, asking them their stories. We'll be talking about stuff, reporting on stuff. We'll also be talking to some of the people that are going to be speakers. There's a huge lineup. If you go to Facebook and look up Bell City Paracon, that's Belle City Paracon, Paracon, obviously, you will find the Facebook page. The website is almost complete. Ticket sales will be starting soon, so please be on the lookout for that. If you live in the area like Southeast Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, it'll be an easy trip for you. Let us know. Come see us. We will be in the middle of the venue doing our podcast all day. We'll have a table. We'll have some merch. We're going to be doing some giveaways. There's going to be great speakers. We'll be there. It's $10 to get in. You get to see all the speakers for free. There's going to be some great vendors. And then at nighttime, after everything's over, there is a limited amount of tickets. There will only be 24 tickets sold to be able to investigate the location that we will be at, which is rumored to be have close ties with the mob in the past. So, and the building has some history that is a haunted history. So please be on the lookout for that. Come see us, come say hi, watch our live event, come to the investigation. Remember, the tickets are short there, but November 2nd, Bell City Paracon, we will be there, and so should you be. So if you are listening from far away, you're still going to be able to be there because we will be doing YouTube Live. Depending on connectability and things like that, we may do Zoom. If we do that, we'll put the Zoom link out on our Facebook page. We can have 500 people at a time in that event to watch. So, but people will probably come and go throughout the day. So if you're not able to get in, you will be at some point, I'm sure. So with that, we're going to enjoy our summer break. And we hope you do too. Get caught up on some old episodes. All right.
Yep.
So see you later, guys. Peace.
Okay. Peace out, big balls.
We gotta get a piece so bad.